So Steve is back over tonight, and we are working on Spruce BringSteve again. And the tailpipe just had like a down, or the muffler had like a downspout right here, and he was getting exhaust fumes in the cab. And so I found this chunk of Borla stainless tailpipe that I had taken off of the other Steve's 4Runner. So we modified that and turned that into over the axle style dump with Honda sway bar link mounted and welded, drilled and bolted in. So it's nice and rigid mounted as far as up and down, but it allows it to vibrate a little bit so it shouldn't crack or hurt anything. So that's kind of neat. And then we've been messing around. We're going to build his flatbed. So we've got this C-channel stock, and we've been playing with paint marker, and we've cut the end of it to match the profile of another piece of C-channel. So we're going to, that's how we're welding the corners. And you could cut it off at a 45, or there's 100 ways you could do it, but this is the way I'm choosing to do it. So we're cutting it so it'll fit inside the other piece of C-channel. So when we weld it in, we can grind it. We'll get a nice smooth squared end to it. And yeah, that's what we're playing with right now. And work on getting the center portion of the flatbed built. So we're going to set it up so it overhangs just barely over the taillights and stuff, protecting those in case you back into a tree or something. Not that, you know, I would have any experience with that. But yeah, just plugging away. All right, so here's what we got going so far. Got the outside perimeter welded together and drilled the holes and dropped bolts through and the mounting positions. Just trying to determine, I think we're going to actually weld nuts on the inside of the channel. So where you see the bolt head now, we're actually going to weld a nut there and run bolts up from the bottom with a lock washer and a flat washer. And then he's got some rubber washers that are going to go between the frame and the frame and the flatbed. So yeah, I think this is going to work out pretty good. Just setting it on here, getting an idea. We're gonna get some flat sheet stock, and we're gonna skin the top. But first we need to weld in some cross members. So we're gonna make a recessed area here for a spare tire to set. So we got to determine what that is. We got to go get my 37-inch tire and wheel out of the shed. We'll bring that in, and we'll kind of make a determination of where and how that has to fit, and then where the other cross members will lay. So turning out kind of neat. Having never built a flatbed before, I think we're on the right track. So then we're going to decide. Talked about doing like a jerry can, and possibly trying to find like a thin side mount box. We'll just kind of let it build itself as the ideas flow. But we do know that we would like to come out with something to kind of partially cover the tire at least, so it's not flinging stuff all over. So yeah. So we got the framework put together and drilled, and we went ahead and welded the nuts in there like I talked about. So you run a bolt up through the bottom. It's still in mock-up phase. Obviously we don't have the rubber washers on there or anything. We're just kind of trying to figure out the layout. But Steve's gonna run a full-size 37-inch spare in this location behind the cab on the driver's side. And we want to stand it up vertically like that. So we're just kind of determining what we gotta cut. There's an old shock mount on the frame, and I think we're gonna eliminate this cross tube because it's rusted out, and we got the new low range shock mount here. We might do another cross member back into the place, but I mean, we don't need it anymore for the fuel tank. So, because he's got this fuel cell that's going to be there. Yeah, we're just kind of determining layout before we move forward with welded in cross members and that kind of thing. So, but this is the stage of the game right now. Looking kind of cool. Starting to take shape. So we're back working on Steve's flatbed. Well, actually, yeah, I'm trying to block the sun. Steve has been working on his flatbed. I've been trying to finish getting spikes, control arms. I spent another hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Oh yeah, these guys, look at them. They're talented, man. Cutting the radiuses so they sit down nice and flush. So when we skin the deck, it'll all sit nice and flat. So we've got some rounded tubes that we put in here, which is obviously what the spare tire is going to sit on. And we're going to put some braces here so that the skin of the deck has something to rest on, be welded to. And then he picked up these plates that are going to go in front of and behind the tire. And so he can run a strap over the tire, keep it locked into place. And then he's got a fuel cell. We're going to ditch the factory tank because it's leaking. And so we're going to go with the fuel cell that he's got. We're going to put that up in here. So we got to get that over here. We're going to figure out what bracing we need so that we have a good solid mounting point so we can drill and tap and bolt that down to the bed. And then he's got a Milwaukee pack out mounting bracket. So he can use the pack out system and get some stuff locked on here. Yeah, just slowly tinkering away, trying to turn this thing into something. In the meantime, Buddy, the neighbor dog's kind of mad that we're out here working. I don't know. Buddy, come here. Yeah. Anyway, we're having fun. So there's no better place to learn to weld than on your own junk. So we handed Steve the welder and told him to weld his junk. This is his very first time welding, I think, ever. And he just did it. Let's see what it looks like. That's not bad at all. I might even hire him. Might be beginner's luck. Keep going. I mean, it sounds good.
I can see orange in the bottom. So you can...
Oh yeah, put a hole in her.
Oh, a little bit right at the very end, but dude.
You're getting there. So to do the rest of it.
We're just giving Steve all the fabricating tools and just letting him go at it. And he's doing awesome. Making his own flatbed. Obviously we're helping along the way, but nothing wrong with that. Let a guy play with the right tools and maybe we'll have a new fabricator around here. All right, so you can see, or maybe you can't, but you can see the black marks. So this is what is going to be the deck of the flatbed, which is 12 gauge steel. And we got that marked out. It's getting kind of late, so we're going to not cut it tonight because we don't want to be too obtrusive to the neighbors. But yeah, the deck is turning out. Like, this is really sweet. So we have laid out and figured out where the fuel cell is going to be. So we have extra cross brace. So we got spots to drill and tap for the mounting for the four corners of the fuel cell. We've got the recess area for the spare tire. And then the, I'll grab it here, but the lock-in mounts. So we made sure that we have, we're going to plug weld these, 12 gauge sheet metal, be cut open for the spare tire mount. And we're going to plug weld these front and back of the tire. So we made sure to weld an extra brace in here. So when we plug weld, the pole will be center strap, right, to hold that spare tire. So we made sure to weld an extra cross brace in here so that this won't get flexed up. Yeah, it's working out. And then we laid out some extra bracing just to keep the metal from tinging around. And he's got the pack out mounts, which will go in the back, and he's got an air tank. So yeah, but all in all, the whole flatbed actually bolts to the factory mounting locations. Heaven forbid if you need to unbolt it and do something else with it, it'll just be, you know, a matter of undoing the fuel lines and unbolting the bed and getting it out of the way. So it is coming together. Steve is learning how to fabricate. And what do you think of that?
Love it.
Yeah. Nothing better than learning on your own truck, right? It's super rewarding. So it's going well. We're going to get back at it tomorrow. So in the ongoing progress of Spruce BringSteve, we are, he's been working on his bed. So he actually got a fuel cell mounted. His factory fuel tank was leaking and had rusted through at the seam. He actually ordered a fuel tank, got the wrong one, was going to go about fixing it with an OEM style tank, and just didn't seem like he was coming up with the parts that he needed no matter how hard he tried. So he ended up going the fuel cell route and got that mounted up with inline pump and stuff, similar to the way I have Stomper set up, and got it all bolted down to the flatbed that we've been working on making. He stopped at Off-Road Anonymous and picked up one of Jacob's Milwaukee pack-out mounts, and he's got that drilled and bolted through the deck of the flatbed. So that pack-out mount, I mean, it's locked in like ridiculous, right? I'm shaking the truck. I don't know if you can tell if it's me just shaking the camera, but I'm shaking the truck. Thing's ridiculously solid. Spare tire mounted on the other side. And today, so the pitfall of the fuel cell is that the aftermarket fuel senders never seem to want to work with a Toyota gauge. I've always been, Toyota uses like switching grounds for everything, as opposed to most manufacturers use switching positives for everything. And so I don't know if it's something with that. We actually did try switching the wires around on it and stuff. The guy that did it for him couldn't seem to get it to work either. So since you really don't know exactly how much fuel you got, it's probably a good idea to have a little extra with you. So Steve picked up a jerry can, and today we are playing with some angle iron. We're going to try and make a mount. And actually we're going to mount that jerry can right on the passenger side of the truck, right here, right next to the fuel cell. We're going to try and have it similar in height. It'll hang down a little. All right, so as we build through the process, right, because that's the kind of guy I am, I didn't like draw a plan up or anything. I'm kind of cutting and fitting as I go, figuring out what I think will work and what'll look good. So right now we have, this is going to be the vertical member right here, going up behind the cab. And then we're just trying to figure out the length to come down the length of the bed. But this will be the framework that kind of holds the side of his box. It's, you know, 1.5 inch square tube, 1/8 inch wall. But we're going to come up and forward and down. We wanted to kind of build this side right now so that as we're fabricating the mount for the fuel cell, we're going to incorporate the bedside into the fuel cell mount. So, and you'll kind of see that as we go through the process here, but so we're just having discussion and figuring out exactly what we want to do. And you'll keep watching and you'll see what we decided on. So we just put that side up there and we're trying to kind of make some determination as to exactly what we're going to do. But this is what we're going to do for now. Get this side piece tacked into place. And we'll keep charging forward on the jerry can mount once we got this welded up there. All right, so we got the side all welded on. And then we decided to take the base that we had built out of 1.25 inch angle iron. And we were going to get ready to weld it to the outside of the frame, but then we were talking and remembering that back in the day, General Motors decided that it was a really bad idea to have a gas tank between the outside shell and the frame, because in a side impact collision, trucks were blowing up and people were dying. And so, anybody that loves square body Chevys and knows their history would know that. So we've taken on a new approach. There's just enough room up there between the spare tire and the fuel cell that we can drop this base that we made up there. And then we're going to drill some holes in these tabs and be able to just strap over the top of it and hold it down. That way all the fuel is up above, inside the bed, in between the frame rails, being trying to be as safe as possible while holding extra fuel. So that's the route we're taking now. We got to get up in there, grind a few spots. We're going to plug weld this base down to the flatbed. And then, yeah, should be cool. And we got back over to Spruce BringSteve, and so that's what we ended up doing. We welded that cage to the bed floor. He's gonna get some straps to hold it over instead of the bungee, but that opening is where the spare tire normally sits. And you can see we got really lucky. Our math just worked out. Like the fuel jerry can holder and fuel cell left just enough room. So everything lines up. I'd rather be lucky than good, and this time we were lucky, so can't beat it. So we left it all off for tonight. He's going to go and pick up some more of the 1.5-inch square tubing tomorrow. And we're going to see if we can actually continue building bedsides. We get the other bedside built, and maybe even some tin to plate the inside. Yeah, we'll keep moving forward as time allows. Here, we'll get a tailgate made, and yeah, cool stuff. So just got home from work. It's Friday afternoon. Spike's loaded down with some of the supplies. Tables and chairs. Spike wasn't big enough to haul them all, so Dustin's bringing a few of them for me. And Steve picked up some more metal, and I think he wants to try and work on that box some more, or his flatbed, or build a bed, or whatever. Yet today, before we load up for the color tour tomorrow, he's got some metal he wants to make some sides, and at least have some sides. So yeah. We can't really, we got to do that. So then we can clean up. So then we can bring chairs in. And it's beautiful out. Let's get to work. So we're making some headway. We got the other side framework put up. And then Steve picked up this 18 gauge metal. And we're doing some stitch welding. So to try and not warp it, right? And then we're going to go around on the outside and push that over and stitch weld the bottom where it needs to be. And then we'll use seam sealer to seal it up so that, yeah, be somewhat water resistant if he wants to put a cover on it or something at some point. Should be kind of cool. However, we just ran out of welding gas. I'm going along and I'm like, oh yeah, this thing's welding pretty good, get nice consistent pattern. And then, bleh. Dang it. Of course, it's after 5:15. The stores are closed on a Friday night. So we're just reaching out to some buddies, see if we can come up with some welding gas so we can keep going on the project. So Steve ran over to Chris's house and they finished tacking the sides in. And while he was over there wrapping that project up, I got the tables and chairs out of Spike. Washed down the garage floor, got tables and chairs set up, garbage cans, and a can bag ready. And now we got to make the trip to Costco to pick up the other supplies. Get ready for tomorrow's fall color tour. Can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be awesome.
Cab truck here. Dog bed.
So
we don't want to just leave it outside because, first of all, he washed the truck, and the truck bed is wet.
Yeah. I'll pull the key out, but single cab truck life. So we got our Costco order And the stuff that could go in the back is in the back, but there's no tonneau cover or nothing, and I just washed it, so the floor of the bed's kind of damp. We're like, oh yeah, let's get the dog a new bed.
Bed.
Hopefully we don't need the airbag. Whitney will be double insulated. Yeah, always a good time.
Yep.